This week on Weekly Recharge, IGN gives 3D World and Bowser's Fury a 7, and I become the very thing I hate. One of them whiny babies that complains about IGN reviews. Alright, it's February 10th, and we got our review of Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury going on here from IGN. It gave it a big whopping turd of a score, a 7. Which is fine. I feel like IGN gets this hate a lot, right? They get this hate a lot. That their reviews always get 7s and that too much water or something stupid like that, right? This happens often. I get it. They're a big site. There's going to be a lot of complaints. So they have a lot of people working for them. Each person there has an individual personal opinion. And yes, I get that. Let's go through the review. Listen to what he has to say. I will critique anything that I feel like that needs to be critiqued. And sure, we will talk some shiz about this too. We're not going to let this thing slide, obviously. It's a remake. Again, another Wii U rehash.
That said, playing Super Mario 3D World again now, the gameplay actually feels like a bit of an awkward fit for the presentation, as the forced viewpoint makes spatial awareness harder to judge than it would be in a purely 2D design or in a 3D game with full camera control. As such, 3D World doesn't feel as intuitively precise as other Mario games. This feeling is compounded when you throw additional players into the mix. With up to 4 people, the result is chaotic and fun, but also haphazard, as
that he doesn't think that the camera perspective holds up, which I think is fine. That can be true. I can see how the 3D and 2D perspective does usually it does lead to that kind of awkwardness where you do not know the depth of field situation. But here's his example in this video, and looking at it, I think 3D World does this better than a lot of other games. Could it be an issue? Yes, but I do not think it is as big an issue as what he's saying, at least to make it, knock it a couple points later, years after the fact, because this perspective issue still would have been a problem even then. So here's the biggest example of him dying, right? You can see where the dragon is coming and when you're going to get hit, like in this example. You were obviously going to get hit there. That was not a surprise to me. You can see it coming over the grate. I don't think the perspective... I think the 3D pop-out is enough, and that the angle is high enough that you can actually almost see it as a top-down and the back, where you're seeing the foreground and the top-down. I think there's enough perspective here that you do not fail that often. So I understand that could be a criticism, and is in a lot of games. I don't see it being a criticism, especially in the perspective that they used here, where you do see where Mario is in a top-down perspective, as well as where the characters are coming over the grate here. I mean, at least in this example, like, how's Peach getting lost in this perspective? And this, it's like, and you're going to get hit. You should have went back. I don't know. Okay, could be a good point of view. And maybe it's slightly true. But again, I think that the height of the camera angle gives it enough perspective that you see the layers of what's coming at you and where you are on the map, personally. Okay, let's put them back on.
feeling is compounded when you throw additional players into the mix. With up to 4 people, the result is chaotic and fun, but also haphazard, as many of the levels and challenges simply don't work that well with 4 people running around. Multiplayer is a mixed bag in other ways too. The core of the experience is meant to be a push and pull between cooperation and competition. On one hand, you're working together to get to the end of the stage, but on the other, you're also fighting to get the most points and win the crown. This tension can be fantastic. One minute, I'd leave a power up for a friend to help them out. The next, I'd pick them up and try and toss them off the map. Where it fails is when the shared pool of lives runs out and prematurely ends the fun, or when it becomes clear that the scoring system weights certain actions far too heavily.
That's right.
The differences between characters is generally more of a negative than a positive too. Toad, for instance...
So multiplayer, this is somewhere I can see that issue. Multiplayer has never been great in any platforming game. I think Rayman Legends does it okay, and probably I think Rayman and this game are probably the best example of multiplayer in a platforming perspective. Most, at least in a cooperative way, although there is a competitive element here. Yes, is it fair? Probably not. But I do believe that, and maybe like how the scoring system is not fair either, but it's a Mario game. I don't know. I don't think for me that that's a big major bummer. Like, it's not like people are playing this game to be super competitive, like Call of Duty, like, where you're just like totally wasting your friends. It's nothing like that. It's like messing around, and you one time you'll throw your buddy off the cliff for funsies. It's not a game where it's super competitive, even though there is a little bit of competition to it. It is the best that there's ever been as far as multiplayer platforming. Could it be better? Sure, yeah. Yep. Got me. 2 points.
Is fast but can't jump very high, while Luigi has a huge jump but skids to a stop. Both ability sets can be useful in specific places, but a character like Rosalina is just broadly better. I mean, she has a spin attack and she can basically double jump. This uneven playing field seems at odds with multiplayer's competitive aspirations. Playing with
And I can see that. If the multiplayer is seen as a competitive thing, then yes, I can see how the characters' differences are making it difficult for it to be a true competitive game. I yield the floor, sir.
Remember the assist mode in Super Mario Odyssey? 3D World has an invincible super leaf, but this only protects players from enemies, not from falling to death, which is a massive hurdle for some. A change to this would have been great for beginners and made a huge difference to multiplayer too. As it stands, Super Mario 3D World...
I get it, no assist mode, that sucks. I know some people do enjoy that. I mean, the last 3 deluxe games, Wii U games, all got a baby mode in there. Funky Kong coming in, surfing, waves up, brah. Again, these are small critiques that I do not think would lead to a 7. So far, I'm not getting to why we got to a 7. I understand that these are critiques that are fine, that the multiplayer is a little weird as far as competitiveness, that the critique about not having a complete assist mode about dropping off the map is not perfect. However, I would also say that you have several characters like Peach and Rosalita who are just floating over the frickin' holes like no one's business, and you could probably find a character that fits you, like Luigi or others, who can make the jump easily, and you will be totally fine. Mario is for the pros, and you got the other characters for a little lesser, like an easier movement. Yes, again, there is some dying involved. It is a Mario game. You need to platform. But, okay. So the kids aren't happy. How does this review lead to a downgrade of nearly 3 points? That is what I'm asking. I do not see it yet. Let's keep going.
World has lost some of its luster. I don't think it fully succeeds as either a single player or multiplayer game, and while I enjoyed rediscovering its mini gameplay twists, it's simply less compelling than the likes of Galaxy or Odyssey.
And there it is. Is this man a 3D Mario fan? Is that what's going on here? Do we have a 3D Mario fan here? Hating on the 2D loving? Odyssey and Galaxy. No offense to Odyssey. Odyssey's a fine game. I don't think it's better than 3D World. Galaxy, yes. I don't think Odyssey is better than 3D World. Odyssey is a fine game, but it is not a better platforming game than 3D World. Not in its life. Not even close is it better at platforming than 3D World. The only time where I thought Odyssey was nearly as good as 3D World in what Mario is supposed to be the best at platforming, I would say, is the very hardest level where you're going through the gauntlet basically at the very end. That is probably the most difficult part and the most platforming rich moment of that game. But other than that, there's close to zero platforming, at least difficult falling platforming in that game. Could it be that Cam just doesn't like that kind of stuff? That's truly possible. I'm not going to put words in the mouth say that that's the case, but obviously he has an affinity for 3D Mario games.
So that's one half of the package. The other is Bowser's Fury, a whole new, much more contemporary feeling adventure. Gone is the concept of lives and the fixed perspective, replaced by an open world with full camera control. The other playable characters have also been jettisoned, but Mario is joined by Bowser Jr., and together they're trying to save the new setting of Lake Lapcat from a malevolent black goop that has taken hold of the Koopa King.
So I'm not gonna, honestly, I haven't played this, obviously. I have not played this part of the game, Bowser's Fury. I'm gonna have to trust this, right? I have to trust this dude. From what I know with these types of mechanics, let's say Breath of the Wild, right? The Blood Moon. And it was never my favorite mechanic. I think it's a cool idea of okay, this is how we bring in those characters that we already killed. This is an interesting way to do it, but it was never my favorite thing. Especially the randomness of it a little bit, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. But I do like that this kind of has a visual representation that you see Bowser slowly going up and then you got the glowing Bowser. I think that's cool. At least that way you can look up at the map at all times and be okay, this is my timer, kind of okay, I probably shouldn't do this hardcore difficult jumping move right now because Bowser's probably going to be chilling, so I better run into the blocks that Bowser's has to burn up so I can get those taken care of right now. Does that ruin the flow? I think so. Not my biggest. That's why I didn't like it so much in Breath of the Wild either. It kind of ruins the flow of the game. So I could see that being a kind of a nuisance sometimes, and I could see that, especially if you want to get to one thing done, taken care of. Bowser's never been one of the great boss battles of all time. He has a few moments where you're okay, this is pretty cool. 3D World is one of them that comes to mind. That's a critique of all Mario games. I wouldn't say Bowser being not the best boss battle is a bad thing. I love the kaiju, love me some Godzilla. It is what it is, bro. I don't know.
Those bushes, those trees, that lighthouse, seriously? Cats? It's all extremely silly, and I'll be the first to admit that it does give the game a fun flavour, but it doesn't add anything in terms of gameplay, and that's surprising. The best Mario games take their goofy ideas and tie them into core mechanics that directly impact puzzles and platforming. Here, it's largely window dressing.
To me, that was only in Odyssey. When you go back to 2D Marios, they had themed worlds, but the thing that was happening in that theme wasn't just Mario didn't change his gameplay to fit that theme of that world, and I don't think the theme here is being it's thematics, dude. It's just the look. They put cats on stuff, man. It's a cat game. That was the point of the 3D world, is the cat suit, which is awesome already as it is. I don't know if they needed to add more cat suit abilities. Maybe they could have done something in the 3D space, which would have been cool. But I mean, overall, saying that the thematics, or Mario should have changed with the thematics, especially when it's one big world. It's not going to different worlds like Odyssey or going into different places. It's one theme and it's the cat thing. I don't know. I just keep saying cat.
Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury packs a ton of engaging gameplay, but neither component comes together quite as elegantly as it might have done. This is a solid option if you're craving more Super Mario for your Switch, but it's not the mustachioed must-play I was hoping for.
So, a 7, like we said, don't get it. So my point is how do we get from a 9.6 to a 7? From the few critiques he had. Now, I know what all the IGN people would say. Read the full review. Read the full thing. We have a huge long review, full text. This video is nearly 10 minutes long. If you can't tell me in the video why this game is not good, then it needs to be rewritten then. It's 10 minutes long. I think you could definitely tell me why you gave a game a 9.6 and then decided to go all the way down to 7. What happened? Tell us what happened, because I'm not seeing what happened here. You have a game that has improved, which he doesn't even talk about, in speed. and then improves again by giving you added bonus material that any other deluxe game has yet to do, right? And here's the other thing. Is it Bowser's Fury that is making this like a turd, right? Is Bowser's Fury making it this lower score? Tell us that. But you don't. You don't tell us that. You seem to like it, in fact. You like both of them, in fact. But why? Again, that big drop off, it does not make sense to me at all. Your critique is that the competitiveness is not equally balanced in a Mario game. Totally cool. I get it. If you're totally in the competition stuff, that's annoying. But it's a Mario game, and I do not think of competitiveness in that nature at all. I think of family having fun. You give the kids the easier characters. You give Mario to the people that play a shizzle load. Competitiveness is fine. I like that they have it in there. I think it's a little fun and playful, but just playful. I do not think it is competitive in the way that he thinks it is. Again, no reason to go there. No reason to go a couple points down. The visuals, likes the visuals. The other complaint being that the camera angles seem difficult to understand perspective, things like that. I do not see that. And even if it was the case, that would be the worst of all the critiques to me. That would be the one that, yeah, maybe that takes it down to an 8 or something like that. Okay, I could see maybe the camera being an issue to that point. But man, dude, 7, what? What are you talking about? Tell me in this video review where most people that are watching or looking at your stuff go to the very bottom, read that paragraph, and look at the video. You know they're not reading all that stuff. The reason you make those giant paragraphs is so people will come to your site so that your reviews are the first on the site. The more words you have, algorithm goes to you, and that's why you're doing it. It's not for anything except for you to have a better algorithm. So tell us in the 10-minute video what is wrong with this game. That it lost 2.6 points. 5 years of time does not affect a Mario game the way that it does other games. It just doesn't. There is no way that it does. This game, I have played this game. It feels modern as it did then. There is nothing different about it. I recently played 3D Land, and it felt just as good, dude. And that's older than this, on a way worse hardware. So I do not get it. That is a critique that just does not fly, man. Not at all. You can give this game a 9. That makes sense to me. You can give this an 8. But again, this is a person's perspective. And maybe this is just not his cup of tea, yo. But there's a whole group of IGNers, like people, other reviewers there, that probably would love this game, give it a 9, give it a 9.6, and even a 10. There, in fact, was one, Jose. You know, so yes, I get it. Individual people are running your site. And that you can't put everyone that you have on a review. That would be a lot of work, and you don't have the manpower. Understandable, totally makes sense. But you are the site. You are IGN, and when you get these people that are annoyed with you, when you give these 7s and be like, yeah, IGN thinks it's a 7, it's because your name's on there, dude. It's not this dude. It's not him. There's not enough context here, at least in the review presented, for me to be like, okay. That makes sense. If Bowser's Fury was such a turd that it did that would make sense. But the dude seems to have fun. It seems like it's a little repetitive. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Then tell me why, dude. Tell me why. Tell me why in your review. That's what I'm annoyed about the most. Tell me why. And don't act all surprised or mad when people are like, what the frick is going on here? Because we're confused, dude. Should I get this game? Should I buy this game? Like, what is up, bro? Maybe the score system ain't working. What is this? Should it just be a buy, sell, rent? You know what I mean? And especially when we're doing re-reviews such as this, maybe we need to rethink those. Maybe we shouldn't re-review these type of games. Maybe they should have just reviewed Bowser's Fury. Because nothing has changed in this game. Not in a significant amount of way that people, and any other review that I've seen, that people say that it's significant enough to even bother to rebuy the game, in fact, right? It's a little faster. If you want the game, of course, buy it. What is the point of re-reviewing games that have already been reviewed? And does time really affect some of these games so poorly? I mean, like Pikmin 3, like hasn't aged poorly. Donkey Kong's Tropical Freeze didn't age as poorly as this, apparently. How did this age so poorly? So, again, a little confused, but I'm being a real big baby boy, right? Big little baby boy. Because this is a dumb review, and who cares? It's a games. It's just something to think about, something to percolate the brain sickles. Be like, okay, maybe we should do reviews a little different. Or at least maybe we shouldn't review them the way that we have been. Lots of 7s running around, baby. And IGN's known for them. So it's pretty interesting. Again, dude, nothing against this guy, nothing against Cam. Seems like a solid dude. You know, and he's just saying his perspective, saying his points of view. Like, I can't be mad at some dude's points of view. I'm mostly mad at the system and a little confused at how we got here from 9.6 to 7, but it has nothing. But for me, I'm going to buy the game anyways, right? I like the game. I'm going to buy the game. Interested in Bowser's Fury, 90 on Metacritic. So maybe that's on us that we all just got to see what everyone else likes and can't just rely on one reviewer. And obviously none of us do that anyways. So who cares? I'm glad I did this video. Wasted my time. Till next week. Enjoy yourselves. I will see you. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, leave them below and we will get right to them. Adios, amigos and amigas. Bye.